Hey Falcons fans, let's talk about some developments that could change the trajectory of the Falcons defense and offense as we head into the final stretch of this season. Before we dive into today's big news, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all things Falcons. Trust me, you won't want to miss any of the action as we head into a crucial part of the season. First up, the pass rush. If you've been following the Falcons this season, you know how critical the pass rush has been, or more accurately, the lack of one. With just 10 sacks on the year, Atlanta ranks dead last in the NFL, and that's a problem. But here's some good news. The Falcons could be looking at a potential game changer. The Detroit Lions recently parted ways with edge rusher James Houston IV, and Atlanta may be interested in bringing him on board. Now, let me break it down for you. Houston had a stellar rookie season in 2022, racking up 8 sacks in just 7 games. That's impressive, but after dealing with an ankle injury that cut short his sophomore season, he hasn't been able to recapture that form in 2023. He's appeared in 8 games this year, but has only 1 sack. Despite that, the potential is there. Houston has the speed, skills, and experience to thrive on a defense that desperately needs help rushing the passer. Why does this matter to the Falcons? Well, Raheem Morris has been outspoken about the need to improve his pass rush, especially after spending the bye week self-evaluating. The team knows it's a weak spot. As Morris said, "We need to improve in that area to achieve our goals." The Falcons' defense has been good against the run, but they need more pressure on the quarterback if they want to compete against the best teams in the league, especially with playoff aspirations on the line. Now, adding Houston to the mix would give the Falcons a low-risk, high-reward option. If he can build on the form he showed in 2022, he could instantly become a difference maker. He's still young at 26, and sometimes all a player needs is a change of scenery to get back on track. Whether it's getting in on rotational snaps or even providing that spark when the defense is stalling, Houston could be the boost the Falcons need. But that's not the only area where we could see changes. During the bye week, the Falcons also took a long, hard look at their offensive playmaking. Now, here's the problem. The Falcons are using play action less than any other team in the NFL. In fact, Atlanta is the only team that uses play action less than 10% of the time. For a team with a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, who is known for his success with play action, that's a problem. Raheem Morris acknowledged that the Falcons have essentially neglected play action so far this season. And you know what? It's time to change that. Morris said, "We have more play-action calls than the playbook, and we need to start using them more. It's something we want to make more of a part of our game." Considering play-action has been one of Cousins' staples, it's no surprise that the Falcons want to bring it back into their offense. So what does this mean going forward? More play-action could open up the offense, especially for players like Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who have all the talent to be stars but haven't consistently excelled yet. If play-action helps create time and space for them to make plays, this offense could take on a whole new dynamic. But here's the thing. This all ties back into the bigger picture of the NFC South race, with the Falcons currently in first place. But with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers breathing down their necks, this is no time to stay stagnant. Atlanta's lead is shrinking, and if the Falcons want to secure the division title, they'll need to improve in all facets of the game: defense, offense, and discipline. That means cutting down on penalties, fixing mistakes, and executing better in critical situations. Speaking of Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers are hot on Atlanta's heels. They beat the Giants in Week 12 and are looking to build momentum as they face off against the Carolina Panthers this week. The Buccaneers' offense might not be flawless, but their defense is getting healthier, and they could very well overtake Atlanta if the Falcons don't tighten up. On the flip side, the New Orleans Saints have started to get back into the mix. After a bye week and some time to recover, they could become spoilers to anyone trying to clinch a playoff spot. Carolina, though, is already focused on draft positioning, but their young players are fighting for spots on the roster, and they'll be a tough opponent when the Falcons face them again. All right, Falcons fans, now I want to hear from you. What do you think about the Falcons potentially adding James Houston IV to the defensive line? Is this a low-risk, high-reward move that could pay off? Or should they look elsewhere for pass rush help? What about the play action changes? Do you think this will help get the offense rolling? We all know that the Atlanta Falcons have been under some scrutiny this season, especially as we approach the final stretch. There has been a lot of frustration surrounding the team, particularly when it comes to the pass rush. But despite all the doom and gloom heading into the bye week, there are still plenty of reasons to feel hopeful about what's to come for this franchise. Let's take a deep breath, Falcons fans, because everything is still in front of us. Yes, the pass rush has been a major concern, and while it's true that this could prevent the team from being a serious contender come January, don't let that overshadow the fact that Atlanta is still firmly in control of the NFC South. That's right, Atlanta's fate is still in their hands. Currently, the Falcons have a game lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even if they lose next week, they would still maintain control of the division. And if the Bucs win, it'll be a tie. But Atlanta holds the tiebreaker. They swept the season series against Tampa Bay, and that's a huge advantage moving forward. The Falcons have weathered a tough stretch of games, but their playoff positioning remains solid. Here's the key to Atlanta staying in control: beating inferior teams. The remaining schedule includes matchups against the Raiders, Panthers, and Giants, teams that are either tanking or struggling. If the Falcons can take care of business in these games and find a way to split the next two contests, there's simply no realistic path for the Buccaneers to overtake them. Now, I know that's not the most exciting news for those of you who are hoping for a more impressive finish to the season. The frustration is real. Fans have every right to be upset with the lack of defensive adjustments and to question why the team hasn't been able to take that next step. But here's the thing: two things can be true at once. Yes, it's fair to be frustrated with the front office and the coaching staff, but it's also fair to recognize that this team is still likely to make the playoffs. And let's be real, that's something Falcons fans haven't been able to say in a long time. It's been 7 years since the Falcons were a true contender for the division or had real playoff hopes this late in the season. The 2017 playoff run feels like a lifetime ago, and for the first time since then, the Falcons are in a position to make a run, not just at the playoffs, but at the NFC South title. Even if it's not as pretty as we hoped, the goal is still in sight. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about Raheem Morris' admission on the Falcons' pass rush. During the bye week, the Falcons had a chance to self-scout, and head coach Raheem Morris didn't mince words when it came to the team's defensive struggles. Morris acknowledged the issues the Falcons have had with their pass rush and admitted they're still looking for answers. Games 1 through 5, you had some things you wanted to correct. You saw that you liked, Morris said, but you still couldn't improve the pass rush. So, what can we do different in the next phase of football to get better? It's refreshing to hear Morris openly address the problem. The pass rush has been abysmal, and there's no denying it. The Falcons sit dead last in the NFL with just 10 sacks on the season. To put that into perspective, every other team in the league has at least 17 sacks. That's a glaring issue, and it's one that could seriously hold the Falcons back from achieving their playoff dreams. But here's the good news: the defense has improved in other areas. Since the first 5 games, the Falcons have dramatically cut down on rushing yards allowed. They were giving up an average of 148.4 rushing yards per game in the early part of the season. Since then, they've only allowed 109.5 rushing yards per game over the past 6 contests. That's a huge improvement, and it shows that the defense is capable of making adjustments. However, as Morris pointed out, the pass rush hasn't improved. Despite having the same number of sacks over the past 6 games as they did in the first 5, the Falcons need to find a way to generate more pressure on the quarterback, especially with crucial games coming up. If the pass rush doesn't improve, it could very well hold the Falcons back from making a legitimate playoff push. The hope, of course, is that the extra time off during the bye week will give the defense a chance to rejuvenate and come out strong in the final stretch. If the Falcons can find a way to generate more pressure on opposing quarterbacks, they could become a much more dangerous team. But that remains to be seen. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Do you feel like the Falcons are in a good position despite the frustrations? Can this defense turn things around and become a true playoff contender? And how do you feel about the team's chances of holding onto the NFC South title? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. And hey, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more Falcons news and updates. We've got a lot to look forward to, and we'll be here every step of the way. Go Falcons!